Leonard Fournette,
Whoa.
not out of work for very long. He cleared waivers after being released on Monday by the Jaguars. No one wanted him until he became a free agent. There was some buzz yesterday that the Patriots were interested. More on that in a second. Once that got out, though, in come the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Leonard Fournette quickly signs on to become a bruising between the tackles compliment to Ronald Jones. And I don't know what's going to happen with Sean McCoy. I'm told that he's been told he's not going anywhere. I'll believe it when I see it. But Leonard Fournette staying close to home and joining Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, guy who had 1,152 rushing yards last year. Chris, you know, I'm intrigued, to say the least, by what he's going to do for the Buccaneers.
No, I mean, this is to me, this is a steal. You know that. I value the player at a very high level. Now, is he a headache off the field? Yeah, the more that we've sat here and separated ourselves from this, the Jaguars and this story, yeah, the more I've heard that he's maybe a little bit more of a headache than I gave him credit for in Jacksonville. But I still think he's too talented, as we see, for teams to turn down. And, of course, a guy like Bruce Arians with a Tom Brady at quarterback, if he's concerned about, this guy's a pain in the butt or whatever else, I think he probably looks at it and goes, I think I got a pretty good culture here right now, to where, not saying it's New England, but I think people are going to come in, they're going to buy in, they're going to see what Brady's doing, Gronk's there's a lot of good leadership. And then you talk about football. I mean, yeah, compliment to Ronald Jones, sledgehammer runner, but man, Mike, that's where I look at it and go, He's got more big play ability than a Ronald Jones or anybody else on that roster. I would be shocked if he's not the go-to guy. And to me, where it's really great for the Bucs is that they'll take pressure off the Arians Brady pass game early in the season a little bit, to where it just won't have to, we don't have to worry about Tom having to drop back and throw it 35 times every game as we get the O-line fixed and all that. Now they're going to have a true viable threat that's going to scare people in the run game, and I think it takes the pressure off the pass game and Evans and everything like that. And, of course, it'll make them more balanced and a little more effective, especially early in the year when they're trying to get their feet underneath them.
What do you make of the fact that the analytics crowd isn't a big fan of Leonard Fournette?
Well, yeah, I get that. But, the analytics crowd, okay, so where was the defense supposed to go in Leonard Fournette's rookie year? Because people are mad at him because it was 3.9 yards per carry. Listen, Blake Bortles couldn't throw the ball 7 feet, so nobody played pass defense against Jacksonville. Everybody's got to, it's a team sport. So everybody, if you went back and watched film from that year, you'd go, whoa, there's 9 guys within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. Everybody was ready for Leonard Fournette in the run game. When you played Jacksonville back then, it was don't let them run the clock out, don't let Fournette beat you, and then don't turn the ball over and let Jalen Ramsey and Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell score defensive touchdowns. Same thing last year. It's not a whole lot different. Quarterback issues, they couldn't really get it going. Teams knew, okay, Leonard Fournette in the run game, that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to establish. And also, Jacksonville's still in the process of trying to figure out their offensive line right now. So what makes people think that it just was wide open holes and he was messing up? I even saw somebody challenge me the other day and went, Miles Sanders breaks more tackles than Leonard Fournette. And I go, okay, yeah, maybe the statistics show that. They wouldn't if it was apples for apples, 2 guys in the hole, and one of them have to go against each other. But so many runs of Leonard Fournette are get to the line of scrimmage, and there's nowhere to go. So he's almost in place, where do I go? There's no hole, there's nothing. And then the first guy that tackles him, he's kind of stuck in a mosh pit, and he goes down. And as compared to Miles Sanders, who got to run behind a really good offensive line and had a big holes to go through, there was more room to make people miss, more room to make that defender get on their heels a little bit to then where maybe he can run them over. So analytics, there's so much more context to it all the time. And I think you'll see his worth a little bit more here with an offense that will be able to take some of the stress off of him, and you're going to have to worry about other things in that passing game and Brady and so on. I explained that okay? How was that?
I think you did. Analytics has its place, but we ultimately have to acknowledge that football is a different kind of animal when you start to play, and it's 11 on 11. And how one guy does is so dependent on what the other 10 do or fail to do. And like you said, if there isn't a passing threat, it makes it harder to run because the
Right.
scheme is going to be designed to take away the guy who had 1,152 rushing yards last year, 76 catches for 522 yards on top of it, over 1,600 yards from scrimmage, the quietest 1,600 yards from scrimmage
It's
that
insane.
anyone had last
Right.
year. More rushing yards than Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, and Josh Jacobs, and yeah, he sucks for some reason.
I
at
don't
least in the mind
understand
of
it.
some.
I don't get it.
So
Yep.
we'll see what he does with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, Chris, I want to go back to how this all came together yesterday.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the report that the Patriots are interested,
Right.
I had my initial reaction was no, they're not. Because if they were,
You
we
wouldn't have
wouldn't
heard
know
it.
about it until they sign him.
Right.
And in the event that they were interested, the key conjugation is were, because they tell agents all the time, if any of this gets out, we're out.
Yes.
The Patriots, unlike any other team, have mastered the ability of getting everyone afraid of what they will do if you run your mouth. You don't run your mouth.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So I personally believe, and go ahead and flash the conspiracy theory message at the bottom of the screen, I believe that Fournette's camp strategically leaked it to somebody who covers the Patriots to get the Buccaneers or someone else interested. And we said this with Cam Newton. If anyone had any idea that Bill Belichick was interested in Cam Newton would have been gone before Bill Belichick had a chance to sign him. And I think that's what happened yesterday. Someone put out the false idea that the Patriots were interested in Fournette, and it woke the Buccaneers up, and mission accomplished. And that's how the sausage gets made sometimes, folks.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it got made yesterday.
Yeah, Mike, I don't doubt it. First off, you're spot on. If an agent player leaks that, I might be signing with the Patriots, or I'm in New England visiting them right now, the Patriots will cut the cord immediately and move on, because they'll know that to them that's like, we can't trust you. You can't get in the trust tree here. Because who knows who you're going to tell and what you're going to say once you get here on the team, and you're going to release information that way. Yeah, they don't want anybody ever knowing. That's the way they run their organization. And you're right. They've done a good job of scaring people within their organization or anybody that wants to do business with their organization from talking. And they're masters at that. And then I'm kind of with you, Mike. The other dot to connect here is Jason Light, the GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He came from New England, too. And it just makes me wonder if, Leonard Fournette's agent and his camp realized, hey, Tampa kind of likes our guy, but I need to get, they might need a little nudge over the edge to make this happen. Maybe I float that New England rumor, and Jason Light, who came from New England, is going to be like, I'm not going to let those guys get him, and that amps up his intensity or fire or whatever to sign him. I thought kind of the same things, Mike, when it went down, and I have a hard time thinking that New England was legitimately interested, too, with the fact that it came out publicly.
And when Jason Light gets a phone call from a guy who played quarterback for 20 years in New England that we better get this guy, that creates a greater sense of urgency as well. And I think that, look, and I'm being complimentary of whoever from Fournette's camp recognized this is the way to light the fuse.
Right.
Because it worked.
Right.
It worked, and it worked to perfection, and now he's got a deal to play for 1 year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we'll see where it goes.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.